You cashed in on my promises. You know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out. 'Cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now. A little stronger now. You cashed in on my promises. You know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out. 'Cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now. 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 You cashed in on my promises. You know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out. 'Cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now. A little stronger now.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Night with, of course, BMR. Thank you for taking the time out of your Saturday at midnight, 11 Central, wherever you may be. Have a great show, as always, in store for you guys. Finally, for the first time in maybe a couple, 3 weeks, I have my three angels together. Brandy's finally got her internet going. We got Brandy, Krista, and Monica. Of course, Krista and Brandy are from the the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast. Please subscribe if you're new. Thank you, Ginger Paranormal. 3 months. She is a Bigfoot Michigan Rock pirate. Arr! Thank you, Ginger, so much. As I'm saying, subscribe to the Blondes and Booze on YouTube. Monica, our paranormal world. Subscribe to her on YouTube. And of course, I'm Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Please subscribe to me if you're new. And of course, Texas from Porch. We're on every day of the week. And I've decided I'm not giving out the schedules. And I'll tell you what. Rob, I didn't know you were on last night or yesterday afternoon. Krista, Brandy, I didn't know you were on. Well, we do this ad nauseum for the past 2 years. So I've decided you got to turn on the alert bell. Turn on the alert bell and you will never miss a show. I'll give you a little tip. Hit all. There's 2 options. I recommend both, but hit all. Then you won't miss a show. Little pet peeve. But hey, I love y'all anyways. Thanks for coming on in tonight. We got a great show. And what I'm going to do is bring up the gals.
Hey.
Krista.
How are you?
Good. I'm great. Brando. And of course, Monica.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
And Diane has also been a member for 7 months. And
Diane Boss, 7 months.
Brandy.
Brandy's 6 months. My Lord. Thank you, Brando.
I had to put it up there. I was just like, well.
Yeah. Hey, no, throw it up. It's quite the accomplishment. Because after all, you do get a picture of me with your bandana in the chat room. What more could a woman ask for?
Well, we didn't introduce the next co-host, which would be Krista's cat.
I know, right?
Ah.
He's at it again tonight.
Well,
I've been gone all evening, so I just got home, and like I sat down, and he's like, "Oh, she's here." And I asked Ava, I said, like, was he noisy? She's like, I haven't even seen him all night. I'm like, I get home and here he is.
Well, we can touch on that a little bit because, as most people know, the Saturday night show, yeah, we'll talk paranormal, ghosts, cryptids, whatever. We'll get a little serious with that. We're serious throughout the week. This we have a little levity in this show, and we often talk about food to start the show or some weird stuff that's happened throughout the week, the weekend. So I'm going to start the show with this. I got a couple things to bring up before we get rolling, and later on the show, I got a story to share, and the ladies are going to. I'm going to have them just kind of, bring up something to talk about as well. Like I always do. I like to put them on the spot. That's the way I roll. Thanks to everybody for coming on and appreciate it. So, my buddy that I hate, my best friend, is just 13. Thank you, Mark. Awesome. Thank you, Mark. The super chat's a great way to help support what we do. I appreciate that. The pirate memberships are appreciated. Not expected, but I'm very humbled by it, and I thank you all for that. So, again, moving on. Yeah, my buddy since 7th grade. I hate him, but I love him. I've been what I've been doing this weekend, y'all. I've been dog sitting. Dog sitting. Yeah, I started Friday morning. Now, this dog, his name is Jax.
What kind of dog is it?
He's a German Shepherd, 5 years old, and he's completely an asshole. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I love him. He loves me, but he is the guy that barks at anything. He barks at shadows. If I go in or out of a door, he's at my get in or out the door, and he is just rambunctious as all get out. But he's a cool dog. You just gotta get used to him. So, but he's never been without Brian and Sandy, my friends, and they went to Lake Michigan with their kids for the first trip together in a decade. And they're like, "Hey, Rob, do you like to watch Jax?" And they kind of begrudgingly said it to me and asked me, "Rich Sykes, member for 4 months." Wow, thank you, Rich. So I'm like, yes, I reluctantly agree. I get the prize. So, Brian and Sandy, they leave, and Jax is normal. In fact, I went to water his garden. I couldn't complete it because he kept jumping up and trying to bite the water from the hose. And, cool dog. He really is a cool dog. All excited. But then it set in middle of the day Friday. Mom and Dad are gone. So his normal rambunctious self started to fade, and he was getting a little malaise, right? He was kind of like not being himself, and I get it. So today being Saturday, I'm over there all day Saturday, and the dog all day long didn't bark, didn't follow me around the house. All he did, you guys, was lay outside. I was outside all day. He laid outside in the grass and slept all day long. And I'm feeling bad for the dog. He really misses Mom and Dad, right? Brian and Sandy. But I knew I was leaving to come home because I drove home from his house to do the show. And I'm going to go back there after this show. I'm going to go to bed for 5-6 hours and go back over there in the morning. So I made this plan because getting out the door, like I said, he don't let you. That he still was doing all day long. So I have these pepperonis in my pocket, and I'm ready. And by the way, he hasn't ate or drank since I've been there. Not at all. He's just not doing anything. But I know he's going to try to trap me from leaving. So I have these pepperonis in my pocket because dogs, they do not turn down human food. So what I was going to do when I got to the door, I was going to throw the pepperoni away from the door so he'd go snatch it up. So I get to the door, I got the pepperoni in hand. I'm looking at the dog, and I open the door. And you know what he does? And he's standing up. I'm thinking he's ready to charge. He dropped on his belly, you guys, and sighed a loud, depressing doggy sigh. He didn't care that I was leaving. I shut the door, I lock it, and I'm going to my truck. And you guys, I stopped midway through the truck. I almost wanted to turn back because I felt so bad for him, right? I said, nope, the parents are away. That's on them, not on me. I'm just doing my due diligence here, helping out my friends.
Mhm.
But man, you guys, I drove home and until right now, I'm still thinking about the dog. I can't wait to get back there tomorrow and let him out and play with him because I felt bad like a little kid,
That's
And
funny.
so you guys ever experienced that with animals throughout your lifetime?
Oh yeah,
Sure.
yeah. I think just about anybody who's ever had an animal,
And I love the animals and I love this dog, but boy, I felt so bad for him. So bad. So,
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Well, he was
Yeah,
being nice. That's why you felt bad. The last time I had to dog sit, the dog was a little jerk the entire time, and I did not feel bad. He came and stayed at my house and tore it up.
Oh no.
So I was happy to
well,
hand him off at the end of that weekend.
well, let me tell you, Monica, I was thinking the same thing because this dog can be really quite the idiot. I mean, really. He does know me. I've known him for he's 5 years old, I think. So I see him like once a week minimum, right? My buddy only lives like a mile from here. So yeah, I felt bad. So I can't wait to go see him tomorrow. And so that was my little tale of woe for the weekend. And I had another cool experience this weekend. In fact, it was Thursday at 5 in the morning, 3 in the morning, as most people know that follow. I was on Coast to Coast Radio
It's cool.
with George Nuri. I didn't get like the the second-rate citizen host. I got the actual dude, right? So I was kind of nervous and kind of anxious. And I got to tell you, it's a small world. And I'm waiting for George to call me. It's like 2 minutes before 3 in the morning and I'm going out at 3 in the morning. I'm like, why is this guy not calling me, man? So I'm sitting here biting my nails. I'm like, oh my God. Then the phone rings. I had to do a landline interview, not even connected like this. Hey, Rob, George Nuri here. I'm like, oh, hey, George, I was about to say finally. Never talked to the guy once until 2 minutes before showtime. I don't even know what to expect. So that's why I was anxiety riddled, right? So he asked me, where in Michigan am I from? And I said, well, Dearborn Heights, Michigan. George stops, and you guys, we bonded immediately and hit it off, and he made me feel relaxed. And he goes, did you go to Annapolis High School? I said, yes, I sure did. He goes, so did I. He goes, did you go to Pardee Elementary School in Dearborn Heights? I said, no, I went to Bedford about 5 blocks down the street. He goes, are you familiar with Van Born and the Pelham Corridor? I go, yes, I am. Are you familiar with the road steering on Telegraph Road? Yes, I am. Are you familiar with the Kmart that went out of business? Yes, I am. So this guy lived 3 miles from me in my neighborhood when we both were growing up. Now, George has got about 12 or 15 years on me, so we never met. But isn't that strange? Small world, this guy, a successful dude on Coast to Coast Radio. We were practically neighbors for about 15, 20 years.
Wow.
Isn't it a small world?
Small world. You just never know.
So, hats off to George and Coast to Coast. He was so cool because he promoted my YouTube channel 1,000,000 times, promoted my books 1,000,000 times, had me talk a segment about my YouTube channel. I did 3 stories on my book and kept saying, subscribe, buy his books. This guy is one of the best interviews I've had. He's saying this live on air in a long time. So at 5 a.m, I hung up the phone with that guy, and I'm like, "Holy cow, that was the best thing I ever did." And I thought it would be like that. I was so scared in the beginning, right?
Mhm.
With something, a million people listening on the radio.
Sure.
So so that was fantastic.
Oh,
And,
congratulations.
well, thanks. I'm not tooting my own horn, but I thought it was a great story because this is a small world.
Yeah.
Mhm. Did you talk about like your encounter and stuff, or?
I started the show at my encounter. Oh, yeah, and then I did my encounter and 2 others. I did one for book 1 and one for book 2, and then thanks for mentioning that. The second hour of the show was a blast because we took caller questions from people that are listening in. They called, hey, Bigfoot Rob, and some of the questions, you guys, I had to laugh because they're kind of ridiculous. And I'm like, I don't know how to answer that.
Did you have any haters call in like, "Oh, Bigfoot's full of it"? And
No, I had one guy say, "Rob, you ever speak with Bigfoot?" I go, "No." And then this guy went on and said, "Well, I have a Bigfoot friend of mine who lives next door to me that we talk every day." I'm like, and George is like, "Oh, okay." He kind of got us out of that question because I did. I'm like, I'm not gonna disparage the poor guy. So he
Right.
went on and on and on. But it was cool. There were a lot of cool questions. People, it was
very cool.
overall it was a great event, great experience. And so I have a mixed weekend, a cool thing with coast to coast, and my sadness for my little buddy Jax. So
Well, good deal.
so thanks for everybody for coming in. And
Yeah.
I made the topic of the show mystery, madness, monsters, and mayhem. I do have a story to share in a little bit, but I just want to start the show open floor. If anybody's got anything they want to bring up, it could be anything, you guys, as you know how we roll. I know that, it's kind of funny because Kristen and Brandy, weren't you talking about something about dogs, how dogs you blame for stuff on your last show? Was that kind of just
on Thursday and Friday? We kind of the name of our show was "Let's Blame It on the Dogs," because like a lot of things that happen out there. There are several cases we talked about where the dogs do get blamed for attacking people, and nobody's seen the dogs attack people, and there's a lot of unanswered questions that lead me to believe that it was not dogs.
Right. Because we went over the story about these dogs, this pack of dogs that are down the street because these people feed them, so they're down this gravel road from me, and they have attacked actually a cat that we had at the time, which we saw her again after that, but then she just disappeared. Mm-hmm. I just tell my daughter, maybe she just got scared and ran away. I didn't know what to tell her. I kind of figured what happened. Right. And then, I went out and took a picture of my mother's car because these particular pack of dogs, there was one who actually chewed my mother's car trying to get the cat.
Sure did. I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah, because this is not just a little bite or whatever. It actually tore at the car itself. It's got teeth marks and scratch marks in the car where this thing was attacking the car because it couldn't get the cat. Yeah. And, so we discussed that, well, maybe sometimes it is the dogs. Mm-hmm. I mean, because these dogs do get out there. I have to watch my animals and everything else and make sure I have something. I usually carry a shovel out there with me, most of the time, because they do circle and they do growl at me, but they're well aware.
Yeah.
That I'm not going to put up with it. So they kind of keep their distance. But, what are they doing out there when I'm not out there, evidently?
I put the picture up. It's in there, Rob, if you want to show people of Brandy's mom's car. I put it in your pictures.
Which is
I can show it. I can put it up there.
Yeah, me with this crap.
Yeah, but Here's for those of you
Oh
that
my
didn't
gosh.
see the Bruce show. This is Brandy's mom's car, and that was done from a dog.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Wow.
I know,
Do
right?
you know which dog it was, Brandy?
Well, they have what I consider an American bully.
Okay.
It looks like it. It has, it has some of the characteristics and things like that. If it's mixed with something, I can't tell what it is exactly.
Mm-hmm.
They also have a small German Shepherd, and the rest of them look like lab mixes. But like I said, I'm not sure. And this is the only thing that I can come up with. What happened? Now, I didn't see it happen, but we've had a chase, after the attack on the cat the first time, and the cat managed to get away at some point. And then it winds up happening, and the dogs were barking, and my dogs were barking, and by the time I got out to see what was happening, everything was already done.
Yeah.
But you can see them outside circling. I do have outside lights, and yeah, I mean, this is why we were talking about that. Sometimes maybe it is.
Yeah.
Maybe it is the dogs that are doing this, and these ones are very nice with the people down the street because they feed them. They call them in to eat. They come, they run. There's no aggression down there. It's just everywhere else.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's that truly was dog that did that to your mom's car.
Yeah.
But like, for instance, the Amazon driver here in Missouri that we talked about, I don't believe that was a dog. I believe that was a dog, man. I firmly believe that. So, yeah.
No.
Was there a driver killed?
So for those of you that don't know, and Monica, I'll fill you in. It was not this past year. Maybe it was this past year. Or maybe about a year and a half ago. Up in outside of Richmond, Missouri, in Ray County, Missouri, an Amazon driver was found in some people's yard, dead. And the homeowner, they were not at home at the time, and they had someone taking care of their dogs. So it wasn't like the dogs were left unattended and starving. They also had a doggy door, and it was a German Shepherd and an English Mastiff. And the dogs were blamed for this guy's murder or slaughter, whatever. Brandy and I have a connection with the coroner, I guess, put it that way. And he said that he has never seen a body so tore up. And I mean, he said a lot of other things, but we're live on a show. But
right.
Anyway, he there's just a lot that they swept under the rug about that. And they also like the dogs, the police went in there and they shot and killed the dogs because they were aggressive. However, the police broke into the house. The dogs were inside, and the dogs didn't have any blood on them. So if that body was that bad a shape, them dogs would have had blood on them. They didn't, after they shot and killed the dogs, they didn't even check the stomach content.
Are you kidding? Then that's ridiculous.
No.
And plus, somebody who was on the show, and I can't remember who it was, and forgive me, but they had said that what was put in the report later was that there were no signs that the dogs attacked anything.
Mm-hmm.
And everything went hush hush after everything was released. And they said, okay, the driver was, had passed away in the yard. The dogs were to blame, blah, blah, blah. Then everything just went silent, just went dead silent. So I was talking to Krista, on the show, and I'm like, I think what happened was the police got a little bit crazy and just assumed it was those animals and went in the house and did not go through proper procedures.
Right. I agree.
Or just unalive these dogs. You know what I mean?
Or somebody higher up said, hey, maybe they really knew what unalived him. And they said, hey, kill those dogs. Blame it on the dogs.
Could be.
So, did they release the dogs' bodies to the owners?
Nope.
No.
So they did the dogs, and then they
Yep.
took the bodies with them.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, I'd have gone nuts on that police department. Me and my attorney would have had such a good time.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
First of all, I have holes in my home now.
Yeah. Where's the
My
proof
beloved
that they did
pets-
that?
And
Yeah,
my
my
pets are
beloved
gone.
pets are gone.
Yep.
And there's probably red stuff all over the inside if they took care of the dogs in the house.
Inside.
You know?
So yeah, there's going to be that, but
Yeah.
you know, there was nothing going like through the doggy door or anything like that would state that those dogs had blood on before when they went in the house, because you know that's going to transfer.
Well, an autopsy of the dogs would very easily determine
do
whether
it.
or not
They
they.
didn't do
Yeah.
one.
They didn't do it.
I
And
would
they said that
have a field day with that.
yes, and the dogs apparently, it was leaked that they didn't have any blood on them, and if the body was that bad, they would have been covered in blood.
They would have been absolutely covered.
And no, there were no neighbors that heard or saw somebody getting mauled to
Very
death in the
rural,
front yard.
very, very
Yeah,
rural.
it's rural. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like where I live, that maybe if they were, you know, driving down the street or something, they would see something that was happening. Maybe.
Mhm.
Okay.
The Ray County Museum that Brandy and I go to all the time, it's about 10 miles from there where it happened.
Okay. Well, I know that's in the middle of nowhere.
Mhm, it is. Yep.
It is.
Edith Gomez says cover up sad. I'll be talking about a
Absolutely.
cover up a little later in the show. But yeah, absolutely.
I believe that that's what this was, because after that, I actually
Sounds
drove down there to look to see, just to see, like, you know, is this like a dogman? Could a dogman live here? And you know what I mean? Just answer my own questions. And sure enough, it's very wooded, and you know,
It's got water sources. You know, it has everything it needs to survive in that area. Which there have been reports, and even somebody we know had spotted one near there.
Mhm.
Wasn't it with 8 miles, 7 miles, 8 miles?
Well, from where he's seen that to that is probably 20 miles.
Oh, 20 miles. Okay. So yeah, I mean, but what kind of distance is that really to a dog man? I you know, that's nothing.
Yeah. So definitely, you know, I think there's something wonky there, and you know,
I mean, it definitely sounds like it.
it was swept under the rug.
The poor driver, that poor family with the pets. I mean, all of it is just
Right.
so
Right.
sad.
And I guarantee you, the family with the pets, if that's truly what it was, like, they know. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure that family was paid off well for their pets. I'm sure the Amazon driver's family was paid off. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's not making national news, which I would think something like that would, or at least I hadn't.
It was a big deal there at first, when it first happened.
At first,
And then it just
Yeah.
nothing.
very brief. It was very brief,
Mhm.
but yeah.
Yeah, I remember so I remember the young boy in, where was that? Mississippi, Kentucky. It was, you know what I'm talking about. They were calling it dogs there too.
Yes.
And then there was a teacher, I want to say,
Yep.
in
That
the
was
panhandle of Florida, kind of
Yeah.
Alabama.
She was in North Carolina. We talked about her case. Now
Okay.
that one, I truly believe, honestly, is something wonky too. That one is really that's one that I would.
Well, there was one then that took place like in the Florida panhandle, like right on the border with Alabama.
Wow.
And maybe it was, I mean, obviously it wasn't the school teacher, but it was another one. It might've been a guy, because there were three that, you know, I'm thinking of. There was a guy, a school teacher, and then the young boy.
Well, and then there was the Amber Miller, and then that Aaron's guy, like a mile apart. They weren't very far apart, but then the guy, now that one could be the dogs. That one's kind of iffy, because there was a guy there that did have aggressive dogs, you know, so that one could go either way. But
Right.
but
And he wasn't a nice guy. He'd had his dogs attack other people before, So that could definitely be a legitimate dog attack.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, packs of feral dogs, I mean, are a thing. I remember the summers in Oregon that I spent. Well, we were, fairly remote out there. I'm sure you've heard me tell the story where we used to drag the old mattresses out into the field, and we'd sleep like out in the middle of the horse pasture.
Right.
But my cousin would always, be on alert because she said there are wild dogs up in the hills. And we could hear dogs barking, but there's farms around us. I'm not thinking much of dogs barking, but she was like, her head was on a swivel up until the time we would pass out. She said, if they get too close, we have to go inside. But she never said she ever saw them. She just said, there have been attacks by wild dogs.
Wow.
Here.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
This is
wild dogs.
This is
Sorry, Rob. Didn't mean to take over your show talking about
no.
that.
I love. That's why I told you three. Go, and go. Because I have something to share later, but I gotta tell you guys, as you know me, I got something to respond on all this because it's so cool. Because last year, this guy's gone. The house where I live, I have my house. There's a vacant lot, and then there's the other guy, the neighbor, who was a renter. House gets rented to different people all the time. This guy lived there about 3 years, and he asked me finally one day. I finally kind of walked over there, and I said, "Hey, what's going on?" And then we introduced ourselves, and we sat down on his porch. We're talking. He asked me what I do, and I said, well, I didn't not give him my entire life story to the guy. I said, I do a podcast on YouTube. Oh, yeah. What about, man? He says, I'm a hunter. I said, well, it's something you might find entertaining then. I said, I talk about Bigfoot and Dogman and ghosts and
Weird stuff.
Weird stuff. So I'm thinking, okay, this guy's, I'll never talk to this guy again, right? So he looks at me and he goes, man, I'm into Bigfoot and Dogman. Now, I say this quite often where I live. I live in a horseshoe, and I got this big creek that wraps all the way around my subdivision. And I live in a subdivision, but the subdivision is intertwined with a creek and a wood line. I wouldn't call them the woods. Either side of the creek, it maybe goes 30 to 50 feet deep, and sometimes it gets even more expansive. He goes, yeah. He goes, I go down by the creek often because you can spear carp in there. I go, yeah. And I'm like, why would you spear carp? Well, then I found out that he's a butcher, and the place that he owns a butcher shop, and where he lived, he sold a lot of carp to a lot of a different culture of folks that love carp. So he was spearing them out of the creek by my house and sold them. He goes, man, you don't have to pay for it no more. He catches them down the creek. But in the meantime, he goes, well, back to Bigfoot and Dogman. He goes, I think we got a Dogman running around the creek area. I go, well, whereabouts? He goes, maybe 4 or 5 blocks north of where we live. I go, what? Why do you think it's a Dogman? I go, did you see it? He goes, no, but I've seen these really huge, like, dog tracks, oversized, almost wolf-like. They're very big. And I said, you got a picture? Well, I had a picture. Now I don't. I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't care. I'm just talking to the guy. And then, but I do know, and that's kind of the gist of I got involved with this guy. But I started, as I told you guys before, Brandy and Krista, you both know that I kind of walk the creek and look for stuff. And talking about these wild packs of dogs. Now, in my neighborhood, I have wild packs of cats, which I am appreciative of because they keep all the rodents away. I mean, they roam around. I don't care. I dig them, and they can do whatever they want to do. So they're all over. But we also have a wild pack of dogs, and they're like mange. I mean, they're nasty, very nasty. You don't see them often, but they are at a certain bend around the creek which, by the way, is by my best friend that I hate, Brian's house. Okay, yeah, Brian always bring up every show, it seems. So he calls me. He goes, "Hey, are coming over?" I go, "Yeah, I'm thinking about walking over." And he says, "Hey, man, I wouldn't walk over today. Just drive on over." I go, "Well, why?" I was just down by the creek, and you know that wild pack of mange dogs or whatever they are
Mhm.
that kind of terrorizes. And again, you guys, they don't terrorize, but they're a nuisance. Okay, and they bite and have been known to bite and attack people. Okay, I'm like, "Yeah, why?" He goes, "Yeah, they're on the loose, and they're just not that they've never been contained, but they're running rampant again." I'm like, "Really?" I said, "Well, I'm going to walk down there anyways." He goes, "Well, whatever." I said, "I'll call you though if I need you to get me." So I'm walking down to the bend where we know where these mange dogs hang out sometimes, right? So I don't see any of these dogs or nothing, but for whatever, you guys, I just said, I'm going to go walk down to the edge of the creek bed here. And when I went to the edge of the creek bed, I found like 2 to 3 tore up and ripped to pieces raccoons.
Mm.
And they were fresh. And I remember my buddy telling me that these mange dogs are running about, but they were ripped to shreds and they were very fresh kills.
Mm.
And then I'm like, holy cow. Yeah, we got a problem going on here. And I'm thinking about what my neighbor had told me about an alleged dog man and the Big Prince. So I'm thinking now that maybe my neighbor, misidentified the tracks, but he came across something, right? And so you guys, so I'm leaving the creek. And I get up to the top of the hill and I'm going back to the roadway to go to my friend's house. And then I stop and turn, I hear growling. And this is midday, about 3 in the afternoon. I look, and sure enough, there's like 3 or 4 of these mange wild dogs. I can't tell you if they're what type of dogs. They kind of look like they're just so nasty looking. Maybe Doberman Pinschers / German Shepherd / whatever. And they were looking. They all sat down and they're all like growling and just growling. And they're oh my gosh, they were dripping drool from their jaws. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna call my buddy because I don't know if I'm gonna make it. They're gonna chase me down. And it just so happens he was driving around the corner, so I was looking for him, man. Get in the truck. We see these mange dogs get in his truck. We go back to his house. So the moral of the story, I guess, is this: a lot of these situations that arise, it could be misidentified as cryptids, when in fact, in our neighborhoods, we've just got wild running critters, dogs and cats that kind of can take over a population. And what scares me is these mange ass dogs have been known to go in yards, tear up gardens, and unfortunately steal and kill people's pets. I mean, does that happen? Like where I live, you guys, does that like happen in other parts of town, parts of this country?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they just
absolutely
dump their pets or let them run wild.
But you would think doesn't the department, the city, don't they have like what they call it, pest
Animal
control, animal control
Mm-hmm.
or something? Or are they too scared to grab these dogs and cats?
Not necessarily, but maybe like a lot of the pounds and stuff, they're just overcrowded. They don't have anywhere to put them.
Mm-hmm.
So
But you would think if these dogs are showing aggression and have bit people in the past, that they would make the effort to get out there and, get them to euthanize them.
Mm-hmm.
So
you would think that would happen. See, I live in the county. I don't live in the city. I live in a county.
I do too.
And the Humane Society and all of that they have no jurisdiction out here.
Same here.
If people dump animals out here all the time, and I cannot, for me at my address, I cannot take them to the Humane Society because I don't live within city limits. So what it becomes now is my problem that I have to deal with. And we did talk about on the show that about well, 2 years and before, 2 years ago and before, I would have to deal with coyotes quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since these dogs have been here and running, you know, all out in this farm country, I haven't heard not one coyote, not one.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Isn't that interesting? I thought it was too, because even though there's dogs out here, you would still hear coyotes from time to
Well,
time.
coyotes will prey on dogs, so
That's right.
that's very. That's just strange. Yeah.
You know, this is interesting. And I want to read this comment real quick. Ron says, I personally know a family of 3 who claimed to be attacked by a dogman on a paper mill trail in Lisbon, Maine. It bit the 11-year-old gal on the leg. I personally know the family. I'd like to hear more about that story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Ron, email BMR.
I think Ron's got quite a few stories. Thanks, Ron. He's one of the newer. He's been following me for a while, and when I get an opportunity to read chat, he's got some stories, Ron. Yeah, I'd like to talk to him about it. That'd be cool.
Oh, he said he believes it was a huge coyote. Could have been.
Well,
I've also had, it's weird because we've had coyotes roam through here too, packs of them, and it's they're on a baseball diamond, you guys, on Annapolis Road, by the way, which is where George Nuri and I, traveled. We on a baseball diamond, though. Can you imagine? In a residential neighborhood. Now, coyote, I mean, it's not like they're supposed to be in the wilderness, right? They're all over, but it just seems like these things are getting flushed out of the forest into the cities in a lot of instances, right?
I think they're always there. I mean, they're in Dallas. For sure. I've seen them at night, like out at White Rock Lake, which is inside Dallas city limits. And yes, it's kind of wooded.
Louis has coyotes too.
Yeah. But I've driven down through there 1 a.m. There's a whole pack of coyotes walking along the lake, and you can see Dallas skyrise, like, not far in the distance from the lake.
Yeah. I just say for me, because in northern Michigan, absolutely no problem. But where I live, I mean, I live like in the city. Okay. It's just so unusual for me to have these instances occur, right? So,
well, we talked about it on the Blonde Show the other night, that when Chris and I were in Gatlinburg, and Gatlinburg is huge, there were bears right out in the middle of people, because we were talking about how ignorant people can be when they're trying to pet the bears. So
bears and buffalo. Don't do it.
The bison is my favorite.
Yeah, that one too. Just get out there with yourself. You know what I mean?
Go take a selfie right next to it. That's fine.
But they're not scared of people, and they will take you out if you get too close. You know what I mean?
They'll tenderize you.
That's right. They will tenderize you carefully.
Yeah, they will.
Aggressively.
They don't care. Yeah.
But I'm coughing and sneezing and everything today is because they just they're harvesting corn.
Oh.
And it is pretty bad out there because
Brandy lives in the middle of the fields, literally.
Yeah. I mean, things are everywhere. I've got corn stalks all over my yard. I'm like, here we go. I just had my yard, finished up and cleaned up, and then here it is. Like,
not anymore. The combines are out there, right? With the
yes.
They're doing that here too.
Yeah, they got the one that's going, and they got the one driving by it, so it just shoots the corn right into the next truck, and so this stuff, you just see it. It looks just like a smoke screen out there. Yeah. And I'm like, well, this is the time though when I start hearing the coyotes and things like that, because they can finally get through the corn to get to the prey. So you'll hear them out there hunting. And like I said, the last 2 years I haven't heard them, but now's the time when they're going to start coming in. As the cooler weather goes, the closer to the house they get.
Yeah.
Which brings me more problems. So
real quick shout out to Spillin' Tea with Spunky Sparky. Happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
There you go.
So I want to pose a question then, because we're talking about animal attacks, and I want to talk about a very strange animal death that I saw when I was younger. And I want y'all's opinion on what you think it might be. And I think the immediate reaction is not what you're going to think it is. Okay. So obviously, you've heard me say we used to go up to Oregon every summer. We normally would take the coastal route. It would make me sick as a dog because I get car sick very easily. But one year in particular, we were on I-5, and you still go through some very forested areas, or maybe we took a turn off. I don't know. I just know we weren't on the normal coastal route. But we were coming through. We were in Northern California still. It was very heavily forested where we were. I want to say it was just north of Shasta. And the road curves. It's not as tight of turns, but I mean, there are still, it's turning, it's twisting. And I noticed a deer carcass on the side of the road, which is not obviously unusual, but this is missing its head. No head anywhere. That's the only thing that's wrong with the deer is it's missing its head. And I think that's gruesome. Like it, an 18-wheeler came by and just kept it, right? Well, we come around a curve and there's two more bodies. Other side of the road, missing their heads.
Oh my Lord. Okay.
Come around the curve, there's one of the heads and another body. And then around another curve, there are the heads. So I don't know what that was. And it was over a stretch of maybe 3 miles that we were seeing this. Body and head not near each other around curves.
That's weird.
Still had antlers. I would think trophy, but I mean, why are you doing that right off of I-5? I don't know.
Well, the immediate thing I'm thinking is probably what you expect is
hunters.
Yeah, and they.
But the heads are there.
The heads are there.
The heads are there.
Down the road.
It's not near the body.
They move the heads and place them up the road a mile or whatever, a few blocks.
That wouldn't be trophy hunters.
That's not trophy hunters.
Wouldn't be a hunter at all because the body's there and the head's there. So
yeah, and that is like confounded because I mean I think that the normal thing is 18-wheeler car something struck it, whatever. But I think there were like 5 deer total that I ended up seeing.
That's freaking weird.
And if I would say like if the body was here and the head was maybe right adjacent to it on the other side, I mean, I would probably not have thought anything of it, but they were nowhere near each other. So isn't that bizarre?
It's really bizarre. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, you would think it would be poachers of some sort. They're just poaching off the side of the road, which is done a lot, and it's disgusting. I'm just saying, it's disgusting what they do. They're just poaching them for the head.
Yeah. I know it's gross. It is, but the heads were there, and I don't know why you would body here, head here. I mean, if you're just trying to get antlers, but why would you not just take the whole head at that point for the mount?
Right. Yeah. So was the antlers still connected to the heads?
I think so. I can't remember. I just remember thinking, why? I mean, I want to say at least one of them had antlers for sure.
Okay, so let me that then.
Yeah, there wouldn't be that many bucks together.
Yeah,
there wouldn't be that many.
Yeah,
right.
So I'm assuming that some of these were doe, or most of them.
Oh yeah, they were mostly doe. I would think like I said, I don't remember that. I remember antlers on one, but I don't remember antlers everywhere. But
wow,
yeah, I mean the bodies weren't cut up, right? Heads were still there, not trophy hunting. Nowhere near around curves in the road, which is like they were purposefully taken.
And a predator would take them and eat them. So,
but you have to think: why would some person, just take the heads and place them somewhere? I mean, why go through the hassle? I mean,
what about a cult or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just what kind of
that's the only thing
serial killer
some kind of
thing went on here,
Yeah. Because any predator, even like a dogman or a Bigfoot or something, they would eat it,
They'd carry it off for sure, or drag it off.
Oh yeah, they'd carry it off, take it back into the woods.
I don't think they would just start ripping heads off of animals just for the fun of it.
Well, I mean, of course, I didn't study the bodies. They could have been shot, and then the heads, taken.
I know you probably don't know the answer to this either. I was going to ask, were the heads ripped off, like you had mentioned. You thought perhaps it was hit by an 18-wheeler. Boom, we get it. But I'm just wondering how the heads were removed. Was it a clean cut or ripped off? Or...
I mean, we didn't pull over. I wasn't looking, but I remember.
I know you did.
Yeah, mentioning to my grandfather, well, that's really scary. Actually, I said that's really weird. Yeah. Why are the bodies back there and the heads are up here? Like, why are they not near each other?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, like just one here and the head here. It was like scattered. Like as you're going down the road, there'd be one and then two bodies and a head. I mean, it was just like mix and match, like for a couple of months.
The only thing I could think of would be like occult activity, and then just to get rid of the bodies, they threw it out. Just
But I mean, I'm assuming they must have had to have shot the deer ahead of time. How do you even wrestle the head off of a deer that's, in a whole herd to do? Because normally you'd shoot one and the herd's going to scatter. We all know that. Had 5 of them.
Yeah.
and I think Chris is onto something with occult activity. And really briefly, Air Outta Imagery must be a new subscriber. Thank you. Yep. Says, as a hunter and a truck driver, this makes no sense to me. And you know what? We all kind of agree with that, And speaking of new, if you're new here, please subscribe to Bigfoot Mr. Rob on YouTube, the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal podcast on YouTube, and of course, Monica Rollins on our Paranormal World as well as Texas Front Porch. So thanks for that. While I'm at it really quickly, that is a freaky story, Monica. I can't make heads or tails of it. We'll get back to it in just a second. Thanks to Ginger for being a member for 3 months, Diane 7 months, Brandy 6 months, Mark, thanks for the super chat, Rich Sykes 4 months. Very appreciative of all your donations and memberships. It's awesome. Not expected, always appreciated. And it keeps us driving and doing what we do, paying our cable bills and stuff like that.
I don't think that you saw this comment, and I did star it. So
yes,
just
go ahead.
You can, comment. To her, Robin.
I think I did see it. I might have said.
Oh, did you? Okay, yes. Maybe I missed your reply. Then I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. Hey, you know what? That's fine. Robin's awesome. I've known her for
very
a little
nice.
bit now.
That's my point.
Thanks, Robin. No, that's awesome. You can double up on that. We have great people in chat. Thanks to everybody for coming in chat. And just really briefly here, we got 91 in chat. Thank you. And you're all appreciative. And also those people that are watching live somewhere else and not in chat. I appreciate you just as much. Everybody like, because right now I'm looking. 91 in chat. And as of right now on this show, we've got, 396 people outside of chat are watching live somewhere in the world. Thank you. So hit that like bell, y'all. The like bell. The like button. I'm thinking about the alert bell, because like I said earlier, you got to hit the alert bell, turn it on. Hit the like. We appreciate it.
Right. Spill and Tea says, how many creepers do we have? LOL.
Oh, boy. Smack that like button. Yes. So anything else further on that, you guys? I think, Monica, I have really no explanation. That's one of the weirdest stories I've heard in a while.
It was weird to see.
It could be like too, because you didn't exactly see like if the heads were cut or ripped or whatever, but what if it could be, animal mutilation? You know what I'm saying? From above too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the only logical thing that I can think of is that it was poachers, and they were dumping it because somebody was onto them, and they were just dumping it as quickly as they could.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's
too.
possible, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, but don't blame it on the dogs. It may not be them.
Yeah, I think it was the dogs.
Now, don't blame it. Don't blame it on the dogs.
I do remember now watching your show on that, and I was the dummy that said, reminds me of the song from the 80s, Who Let the Dogs Out.
You did make that comment, yeah.
Yes, was that? Yeah, it was.
Yes. Yes.
Well, staying on the subject of dogs, we're gonna stick with Dog Man.
Mhm.
But now this will be a little different, you guys. We're not doing paranormal Dog Man. We've kind of, talked about that at nauseum last couple shows, which is fascinating, albeit. But
Mhm.
this has got a lot of elements to it. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Krista, you've heard it. Brandy's heard it. Not sure about Monica. There's a lot of new people that have subscribed since I've done this story, so it's new to a lot of other people. It's also in book one. And I got to tell you, I did a video on this 2 years ago, and I've gotten the most response from people on any video I've done. It's not as popular as Dogman Island, but it's the second most popular one with the most comments because I've got so many people say, yes, I know that. I know that happened. It happened to me. A lot of comments. So it was kind of cool to get these responses about making this story that I got from this guy. I don't hate using the word vet because I don't really vet nobody, you guys. You know me. I take your story for what it is. I don't judge you.
Yep, I do too.
So, but what I got, and it's a popular story, it's popular in the book, and I've gotten a lot of people, as I said, talk about this. It's involved a physical creature of some sort, the government, and cover ups. So, a lot to unpack with this, and I'm going to tell this this story. Well, this true cryptid encounter. This took place in Indiana, in an Indiana State Park, just outside of South Bend, Indiana. And I forgot the name of the state park. It's in the book, but it doesn't matter. I know that it exists. People have told me it exists. There's this family. They went to at this particular park in Indiana, this state park. It was cool because they let you trailer your horses there. Okay, and you can go on the trails with your horses. And there was this family took an RV up, and the son took a pickup truck and tractor the horses on that. And so when you get to your lot, you can set up your RV, set up your campsite, and maybe 30, 40 yards away, there's a place where you could put your horses away for the night when you were done riding, right? So they get up to this park, and mind you, the son and the father are also into Bigfoot and Dogman. They just happen to be kind of novice researchers or whatever. On a whim, they go looking for evidence from watching all these other shows. Thank you, Two Shadows.
Yes, thank you.
So yeah, they went for the weekend. It was the husband and wife and their son. So they get out, they get the horses, they all go, they brought two horses, and the husband and the wife, they rode together on the one horse, and the son had his separate horse. And they noticed, you guys, this though, when they got to the park. It seemed a little more run down than usual, and they noticed the stench. And now when I say stench, yes, horses, yes, horse manure, right? Yeah, they get it, but there was something quite odd about the stench in the park. They actually thought about maybe just going home or finding a new location, but they said, you know what? Let's take the horses out for a ride. They get on the trail, they're going down whatever path they chose, and then they stopped. They got off their horses, and the father and the son noticed these wolf prints or wolf tracks on the trail, very distinguished, very large. And the thing about this part of Indiana, you guys, there are no wolves, at least on record, that are there anymore. They've since been extinct. Much like where I live, wolves are extinct, right? So they think nothing of it, and they continue on. And then they just, when they're done with the ride, they turn around, they go back to the RV, and they take the horses. The boy and the dad, they take the horses to their trailer. they hose them off, clean them up, they get them like in their trailer, I guess it is, and now the RV. Then they go to the RV where the wife was. Well, even before the son and the father get a chance to get to the RV, the wife is running out of the RV, like waving her hands. Come quick. I got to show you something. So they get to the RV, and all about the RV, you guys, is those oversized wolf prints surrounding the RV, like he was kind of circling around it. And the dad says, "Hey, listen, I'm calling the administration. We're going to get somebody out here. We got to show him this." Takes a few pictures, does whatever he needs to do. Well, the answer at the front desk at this Indiana State Park was some girl. Everybody's gone home. Nobody here. We'll send someone in the morning. So the dad, the son, the wife, they're like, okay, whatever. Take a deep breath. Let's just enjoy the rest of the weekend. Later in the evening, they set up a campfire. They're sitting around the campfire. It's dusky dawn. Sun is starting to set in the back, and they're sitting around doing what families do at a campsite. When they hear these howls, these wolf howls come from the tree line. Okay. What in the hell is this? The dad says. There's no wolves here. And they were deep guttural howls. The family gets frightened. He gets on the phone again. Now this time there's no answer at the administration office. They get into the RV. They said, you know what? Let's get the heck out of here in the morning. We're going to complain, ask for our money back, whatever. Let's go to bed. We're uncomfortable here. As I mentioned, the horses were in a trailer 20, 30 yards in front or in back of the RV. They're in bed. Those howls dissipate. And then all of a sudden they hear some ruckus going on in the trailer with the horses. The dad gets out and he sees that the back hinges of the trailer are ripped off, totally ripped off. Now, number one, you guys know that's impossible, right? So, and then he goes back in and tells his son, "Give me the shotgun." Now, you're not supposed to bring a firearm either, by the way, but in the RV, he kind of hid one. He grabbed his son, gets him the shotgun, and he starts running toward the trailer where the horses are. And all of a sudden, as he's running towards it, he sees this wolf-like creature run on all four legs, get out. He says it's a huge wolf. It gets up on two legs and runs and disappears into the tree line. Prior before hitting the tree line, the guy says, screw it, and he fires a shot at this, whatever this thing is, okay? Probably stupid, but as he explains, never should have done that. He gets to the trailer to check on the horses. They're nervous and scared. The one horse, and Krista, I know you remember this story. You're a horse girl. On the back rear quarters, it was slashed with 3 apparent finger-like razors slashed the hindquarters. It was bleeding, not to the extent where it died. It had blood, and it wasn't deep. It did not hit an artery or anything. And this guy's dad said, I'm calling somebody. I'm going to call the sheriff. I'm calling somebody. This is ridiculous. And then the son goes, Dad, was that like a dog, man? What was that? Because as I said earlier in the story, they were into these cryptid type creatures. He goes, I don't know, son. Right now, let me call the sheriff or whatever. He tries the administrator. Administrator answers the phone and tells this, hey, get your ass down here. But the reason that somebody even showed up because he fired his shotgun off, and the sheriff pulls up. Okay, so yeah, go figure. Sheriff pulls up on the grounds, and then an administrator from the park shows up, as well as some other person. Okay, don't know what this guy is. He was, he was not part of the administration, nor was he part of law enforcement. He was just this third dude. They get up, they tell the story. The father says, "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have shot my gun, but look, regardless of that, look at my horse, look at the hinges ripped off, and we called you about the prints around the RV, and nobody, oh, we'll get to it in the morning, the prints we've seen on the trail, what's going on here?" The son says, "Dog man," just says "dog man."
Mm-hmm.
Sheriff, administrator, and the other guy, unknown guy, look at the kid and tells the father and son, stop right now. Don't ever mention Dog Man. Do not tell this story to anybody. That's it. What we'll do for you in return, we'll pay for your trip. We'll pay for the vet bill. We'll pay for your trailer. Hell, we'll buy you a new trailer. Please, that Dog Man language, sonny boy, that you just exuded, no. Off limits. Don't say it. So the dad and the son look at each other.
Mm-hmm.
These guys, they take off. They go back and they say, "Yeah, well, we're getting the hell out of here. Yeah, we want our money for all this. We're leaving. Just remember, don't say Dog Man to your friends, your neighbors. Don't call anybody. Don't report this. We won't. Give me my money, blah, blah, blah." Tells the mom, and mom's like, "What? This is some strange shit going on." So they get home. It's not 24 hours later, okay, from this occurrence, they get a knock on their door. And who is it other than that same guy, not the sheriff, not the administrator, but this guy and some other guy. Now, this time they're dressed in suits and they're very stern. They come in and they're like, "Who the hell are you?" "Oh, I remember you," the dad says to the one guy from the park, the Dog Man. And these guys, they weren't friendly, as he tells me in the story. They were like threatening.
Mm-hmm.
Like, "Look, you open your mouth, you're going to be dead." They didn't say that, but they could tell by their mannerism. They were threatening these guys. However, to put the cherry on top, they gave him a case of money. They said, "Look, this is to assure you never utter this. Here's this." They gave him a bag. 10 grand cash is inside the bag. The dad says, "We will never say this. We won't repeat this." They leave. Supposedly, they never reported this. Now, you guys, here's the thing. When I did this story last year, I've gotten inundated with people. They've heard about that. I think it's called Oak Farm, Indiana. It's in the story. I know. I'm sorry, you guys, but it's a legitimate. And people, I've got so many people tell me they've heard that story and many other stories about Dog Man and wild wolves out there that people are getting paid off daily and where people have been hurt. Mm-hmm. And, I'm surprised that the state park hasn't gotten in touch with me because it's published in the book and I'm on a video. But you guys, 50s, I swear, if it's not 50 people, many people, hey, look, corroborate this. Happened to them. They know the family. They know this, that, and the other at this park. So that's, the story. And you guys, so much to unpack there about, does this really go on? I believe this story checks out from other people. Yeah. Nobody calls me and tells me this shit's fake or not. They're like, that happened.
Mm-hmm. The only question I have is, you said that the one horse had slashes on it. So,
yeah, like a claw marks on the left rear quarter.
Okay, so in other words, like the Dog Man or whatever was reaching inside through the trailer.
Yeah.
Okay,
because apparently the hinges were ripped off, and the Dog Man or whatever was inside the trailer, and then they seen it run out of the trailer and take off. So maybe, who knows, Krista? Maybe the hand was on the quarter, and when he left, he scratched it. Don't know what his intention was.
It's a flight animal, and anything like not normal to them, they're gonna flip their shit.
Flip their shit. Well,
so I don't see a horse letting a Dog Man get close to it at all.
Well, you know, and
Without
we had this
causing a
discussion
ruckus.
before. Yeah, we had this discussion before, right?
Without it freaking out and causing like a
I mean,
big
he'd be
ruckus in that
bucking and
trailer.
everything else. And yeah, we talked
Mhm.
about this, you and I remember. I know you remember this story, but
Yeah.
hey, listen, something did happen, and I get
Mhm.
you with that because I'm not a horse guy. You know way more than I do. But is it possible? Was it even possible? I don't know.
I think if anything, it'd be possible, like maybe like it reached his arm or something in through, like a lot of horse trailers, they're kind of they're open in the back or whatever, it could have reached his hand or something in there and scratched it. Absolutely.
I think maybe he got his hand on it, right? But that was his first.
But I guarantee you, the
I
horses
guarantee it
were
was
freaking out.
bucking.
Yeah, that horse would have been kicking. And
Well, they were saying,
Crap.
well, look, and I didn't mention this in the story. Maybe I should have. The horses were bucking and they were just going crazy in there. And I guess they had them.
Mhm.
Do they rope them off or something? Like they didn't.
Well,
come out
I know
crazy.
whenever I take my horses somewhere, like mine can be on a picket line. I mean, and I don't know of anybody who throws their horses back in their trailer to go to bed for the night.
I don't
Which
either.
is kind of odd to me.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, considering that they found the prints before,
Maybe
maybe that's
true.
why they
That's
did.
why they did it.
Maybe that's
so.
what they did.
You're right.
And then, with Krista, knowing the behaviors of horses, maybe because the horses were bucking so bad, that's why this particular animal could not get to them. That's why the lacerations were not super deep on the horse.
Yeah.
Especially because you're going to put in the front of the horse first into the trailer, so the back end is what's showing. And I'm thinking that's what happened. If the back end came off, if the hinges were ripped off, well, them horses they're not having that. They're not having that.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that that dog man probably got more than it bargained for when it ripped those hinges off.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But I will say this: it wasn't paranormal what happened here.
No.
Now we kind of talk about paranormal dog man, and who knows if it's a dog man, you guys. Hell, Joe says maybe it was a puck wedgie. Well, hey, they're mean little critters too, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Could what's I don't know if they found the
That
prints.
wouldn't explain the prints, though. That wouldn't explain the prints.
Now,
Right.
But I think that if I would have saw those prints, and there's not supposed to be any wolves or anything in the area, I don't think I would have stayed.
Not with the howls going on either.
No,
Well,
I don't. Because that's going to make your horses upset, skittish,
Right?
all kinds of bad things could happen just because of that. I don't think I would have kept my family and the animals there.
hey,
Absolutely.
Brandy, probably me not either. And of course, what I did say in the story, they said, screw this is sleep. Let's go to bed and sleep. I personally, if I have an RV, you guys, I'm probably pulling out of there that night, really. I'm not going to go sleep on it when I got some predator, in the wood line, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then again, let me tell you, so a lot of people that I know who have horses, like a dogman or something, like even if they see a print, they're going to like blow that off because that's not what they're thinking it is. You know what I'm saying? So they could have had the attitude, maybe one of them, like they didn't, a dogman or a Bigfoot wasn't in their thoughts. So let's just stay here and sleep and whatever, because I know people who are like that, who would just stay there anyway, because, they would just shrug it off. Oh, it, mark in the dirt or whatever.
Yeah. But the sheer stench, I think, would have, I
Well,
wouldn't
yeah.
have even,
True.
I
And they were
wouldn't have
concerned
even
enough to call the
unloaded.
rangers too about it, right? So it's
Well,
not
yeah,
like-
you're right. Yeah.
I wouldn't have even unloaded. I'd have just pulled right on out, found myself another place to park,
Yeah.
and said, "No, you deal with how you're going to fix
I was just
that."
trying to think of why they stayed,
Well, the
I mean, I'm
thing
sure
too, you guys,
dogman wasn't on their mind, but
just like,
Right.
well, no, Monica, you're right. Dogman's not on anybody's mind. And Brandy, you say this too. I'm like you, Brandy. If I'd have got that stench, if I'd have pulled up on my paid for space, and if it stunk right where I'm
Right.
supposed to camp, I'm
Right.
turning around. I'm going to the administration office. Give me a new camping ground, right?
Right.
I'm not gonna go smell that.
Right. Not that moving spots would have made them any safer. You know, I
within the same
don't know if it would have.
Would not make them
Yeah,
safer,
if it's in the same campground, yeah.
but in the very beginning, there was nothing bad going on, just it stunk. Which
Yeah.
right there before you got into any of the
Right.
prints and the I just said, get me the hell out of here. Give me another lot.
Were there other
Exactly.
people in this campground? Did they mention?
Oh, I can't speak to that because I don't remember, or I don't know if he told me. So
Yeah. Because if they were the only ones, this makes sense too. But if they weren't the only ones, then you would think that other people would have heard a
if
rush.
I do recall about the way this place is set up, though, it is pretty spacious. I mean, you have privacy, but I don't. But again, privacy to me is different to other people. How far away? 50 feet, 50 yards. 50 yards is privacy, right?
Well,
I mean,
somebody
Yeah,
evidently
that's
heard
big,
the
but
shot.
that's unusual for even horse camps. That's
Mhm.
that's like unusually spacious.
And you guys, I even looked this place up on the map, and you can look on the map because in the book, I wrote everything is in the book, like the actual name and the actual. I actually marked the actual lot, the actual name of the where they were at, and you look, and it was like a horseshoe. They were all like little mini horseshoes, and these lots are spaced out maybe 4 at a time, and like in a horseshoe. So there's some nice distance, and there's maybe 8 of them. And every section of this place. I mean, the story I told
Maybe
you.
a trip to Indiana is in order.
Right?
You know, hey,
I got horses. I got the bait.
I like Indiana. It's pretty.
but the thing that I guess I enjoyed, not that that was an enjoyable story. So many people reached out and said, "Yeah, we know about that park."
Yeah, that's
Oh.
crazy.
That's
Yeah.
interesting too. Yeah.
I found that to be really interesting that people like called it out. Yeah, I heard that story.
Yeah.
I've heard things going on there.
Not just heard the story, but they're familiar with the park, right? So
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
other things are going on there?
With the park, and that
Yeah.
this is not the 1st occurrence,
Yeah.
nor will be probably the last.
I want the government to try to pay for my silence. That would be.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Hey, when they gave me the 10 grand, I gave them
Like,
the
come on.
finger.
I got stories.
Hey, let me tell you something. The government comes into my house, threatens me almost to think that my life is in danger, and give me a lousy 10 grand. You're getting the finger. Give me 100 grand.
Yeah. Like Smurfy said in the comments, 10 grand only buys the letter D. That's it. You know, the whole name. You didn't even get the whole name.
Yeah, you know, come on. You know, what's
Well,
10 grand?
Mark
Yeah,
says,
but then
don't-
again, we got to remember what year we're talking about also.
Yeah. Mark
And
says some campgrounds have corrals built for horseback riding trails. Most do, but there are some, like especially like horse camp layover spots and stuff. A lot of people just tie their horses either to a picket line or just tie them to their trailer. You know, if they don't. So crazy, interesting.
But I like telling that one. I won't probably tell it again for a while because it's cool and it's new. It's new people, but and again, you know, it's just like because we were talking about dogs and all this stuff is like wild dogs and somebody mentioned about conspiracies, cover ups on your guys early, Brandy and Krista. So yes, this had a cover up, some sort of creature, cryptid, and I gotta tell you, you know, I never would have thought of the ABC agencies. I always say government. Why? Who? It's not. It's some sort of agency, right? I never thought that this happened in the real world because we're a small percentage. We don't think these things until we get into this, but that is crazy payoffs and cover-ups and
I know, like yeah,
you know, to me, it's like a fantasy world we live in.
Agreed.
True.
Yeah, it's only what you see on TV. They only do that on TV. They don't do that in real life, but
They don't do anything on TV anymore. Haven't you figured that one out? They don't do nothing. They do nothing.
Right.
You don't see nothing. You don't find nothing.
Yeah.
Just nothing.
Spilling tea agrees with me. I was thinking the same thing with the lousy 10 grand. Yeah, 10 grand. Get the hell out of my house. Give me 100
Get out of
grand.
here.
You just threatened my family. 100 grand, buddy, and I won't say nothing. I don't think I will anyway. And then give me another 100 grand in 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. You said you're going to replace my trailer. Now I know them trailers are not cheap.
All right.
They are not cheap. $10,000 is not going to touch a trailer.
Especially if it's got living quarters in it. I have one that's got living quarters, got a bathroom and everything in it, and they're not cheap at all.
Duke says, yeah, reality is stranger than fiction. Absolutely.
Yep.
That's true.
Wow.
So yeah, so that's it is what it is, and I gotta tell you, you guys got anything other to add? We got about we got about 10 minutes before we call it an evening.
Well, we talk. I'm still upset about this story that Krista told me, and I'm just upset about it. And it was about the elderly lady that was taking a walk, and then they find her deceased and mauled.
That's the one Monica was talking about. She was the teacher.
The teacher.
Yeah.
77 years old.
That one still bothers me. Not only the fact, if I were the family, I would want to know exactly what attacked her because I want to know. But what if you lived in that area? What if you had children? Would you let them outside anymore? No, your whole way of living will change because you've got this thing out there that is actively attacking people, and the officials are not doing anything about it. And that just really just makes me so mad. Just like, come on, we've got to figure this out because lives are in danger.
So I just brought up the article because I still had it from your whatever night show. And it says, Beaufort County Sheriff's investigators, along with North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission officers and biologists, have responded to the scene to investigate what kind of animal attacked Hamilton. The sheriff's office said in a statement Monday, at this time, preliminary DNA testing facilitated by North Carolina wildlife biologists has eliminated any wild animals indigenous to the area. So
that doesn't tell you anything but, hey, they don't hang out here.
And they don't know what it was. They don't know what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it tells me.
Okay, so bears don't hang out where I live, but can you say it's a bear? No, they didn't say, well, it's a bear. It's unusual, but it was a bear. They would have said that. I think there was a little bit of the MIB information there. It's like, this is what you're going to tell everybody. They just don't live around here. That's what you're going to tell everybody. But I'm like, well, then what is it? Where did it come from? Should people be tracking this down?
They don't come into the area. That doesn't mean, it's ridiculous. They're not supposed to be bears in East Texas, but I promise you there are.
Right.
I bet.
Well, there's not supposed to be wolves in where I live, but not where I live, but in lower Michigan, right? And I'm sure there are. We have the legendary Black Panther that every year in the spring they capture a photo. Black Panther is not supposed to be in the state of Michigan at all. In fact, what state is the Black Panther even in? Alaska?
Right.
Texas, Monica?
Black Panther?
Yeah.
No. Because I have a friend that saw one, and they're not supposed to be here, but he saw it clear as day.
They're not indigenous to the area.
Yeah. It totally ignored the troopers at the border. Didn't go through the checkpoints.
Right. Just didn't file a visa. We don't know, people. We just don't know.
Like, I don't know, migrating over from Louisiana. I was like, oh, that's Texas border. I got to stop here.
Well, I mean, I can understand how things would migrate and move as they breed and what have you. Look at the armadillo. I mean, I always used to know the armadillo being in Texas. I see him laying, deceased on the road all the time because they're running everywhere.
It's a state
They're
animal.
running-
The armadillo
running amok. They're
You
just
know-
running amok.
Well, Monica, our armadillo eggs good, like to say.
Armadillo eggs.
They make a good omelet, Monica.
Oh, sure. Sure. Go pet them.
Is it like a myth, or is they referring to crap?
I'm sure they're referring to crap because I don't
Right,
believe
yeah,
armadillos
right.
lay eggs. They're
I didn't think they did either.
yeah.
Yeah. Down southern Missouri, they when we lived down there, they hunt armadillos because they dig holes out in horse pasture and can cripple a horse real quick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You see an armadillo and you got horses and they're out in your pasture.
Yeah.
Blinded
Anything that digs holes, moles, moles, prairie dogs, anything that got to get rid of them out of the pasture because you got a lot of money tied up in your horses.
Oh heck
And
yeah.
Yes.
and I mean, just keeping them healthy alone is astronomical. And imagine the feed and everything else that you're dealing with these horses. So you would have to alleviate that problem.
Mm-hmm. They do in southern Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Well, according to Rissel, the Black Panther's not supposed to exist at all.
It's not in the United States.
True.
Yeah, No, I'm thinking Africa. That's the first thing I thought of.
But
South
neither is
America.
Bigfoot. That's all I can say to that. Neither
Bigfoot
is
is not in Africa. Yes, I think we came to that conclusion.
But it's not supposed to exist.
Does Bigfoot? at
And
least.
here we are.
Does
We
Bigfoot
have
exist?
4 people right here
Yeah, well,
that have had
I know they
encounters,
exist because I've
experiences.
seen one. You two seen one. Monica has seen
I saw
Dogman. Yes.
I didn't
Well,
see it. I seen the shadow.
You saw the shadow, and Brandy
And
saw.
that was good enough.
Well, I didn't see a visual on it like you did.
And Brandy seen it checking
Yeah,
around
but
while
you-
she's sleeping in her truck. So
You could definitely tell that it wasn't human.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It wasn't nobody in a suit.
It wasn't a bear.
It wasn't.
Anybody in the South in a Bigfoot suit is taking their life into their own hands
They are
because
They-
kind of.
we're
Agreed.
You guys are shoot.
Agreed.
Well, Texas is all about shoot first, ask questions later, right?
you're on my property. It is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I don't know. I know that the weather patterns seem to be changing. I'm wondering if this has a lot to do with things. Because we over here in Missouri, we would have a tornado or two, but now we're seeing an extensive amount. This is like it's like the whole thing is shifting and widening, and it's very strange to me. And I'm wondering if this is a reason why these animals are also migrating, because they feel that our summers seem hotter than they ever have before.
Brandy, I think that's a great point. I can tell you, we could do a show, and it'd have to be it would take longer than 2 hours with just the weather.
Yeah.
I bitch about it every day, as you guys know. Michigan never used to be this hot. We don't even get snow anymore, but we get this
No.
hot weather. I remember as a kid in Michigan, I could make igloos. Today, I can't make a snowball.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Unless I live in northern Michigan, yes, but not where I live.
And then that's debatable.
Right.
So they changed my So do you know? Because I'm totally into gardening. My transition into old lady gardener is like progressing nicely.
You're not an old lady, Monica. I've been gardening ever since the age of 21.
Well, I
Gardening
mean,
says
just
21.
like the old lady with the hat with the garden. Anyway, I'm going that road.
Yeah,
So
fine. Roll with it.
my grow zone, they changed it. It used to be 7, and now it's 8.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, but that's weather. That's not a light thing to change a grow zone. Like an entire zone has
Yeah.
been changed.
Yeah, because I mean, they're like I said, they're harvesting the corn out here, and they usually didn't harvest until September. The
Yeah.
middle of September is when they would harvest, and they're harvesting right now.
It's funny you say that because when I was driving home last night, I noticed the harvesters and because I drive through a ton of rural getting to where I live out of Dallas, and just like you, they were harvesting the corn. They had the combines out there, and I was like, seems kind of early in the year for them to be harvesting. Because I'm looking at how the corn's not even that tall, but yeah, they were out there with the machinery. Yeah, and I was just just like you said, I was thinking it seems early, but.
Yeah, I mean, I could understand if they were harvesting early, they planted early because they plant winter wheat or whatever they're doing. But they don't. They only plant one crop out here where I am. They plant one crop and that's it, and then they just turn it over and wait for the new year. But yeah, that's what I found crazy today.
Yeah, they usually I usually don't see the fields plowed down until definitely like closer to fall. Because they'll go out in they used to, I don't know, I don't think they do it anymore, burn the fields.
Well,
like control
They
burn.
do it. Trust me, they
Yeah.
do it.
But here, I don't know that they still do it, but they used to do it.
Here they do. I mean, they had they were burning the fields behind the house, and next thing you know, they're burning up half my yard.
Fun.
Thank goodness somebody was here and ran out there and started turning on the hose, and the farmer was seeing what was going on. I'm like, aren't you responsible for burning my property up?
Right.
oh boy, Monica, you just got me all riled up here, and I'm not talking about the farmers in their fields, okay? Because which I appreciate and I get that sucks. Talk about my little basic garden I've had for many years. Do you guys know, because of the stupid weather, hardly no rain, but when it rains like cats and dogs. My tomatoes, I pulled them out 2 days ago. That's right, I did. Hardly no flowers. 4 green tomatoes, you guys. I planted the damn things in June. Finally got 4 tomatoes, and they're 4 foot high, the plants. I said, you know what? I'm done. I'm waiting for fall. I pulled them. And that's my pet peeve of the day because I'm just disappointed. I got to replant my garden. I already have written down a diagram of where I'm replanting my plants for next year. Yeah, so I like the garden. I'm not 90 years old yet, Monica. But
no, it's okay. I can't be 90 years old because I'm completely configuring my backyard, and I'm doing it myself. Like I'm digging ditches. I am like uprooting
She's
it. I'm
digging a moat out there, everyone.
Yeah, well, I'm not as elaborate as you, but I've expanded the size of my garden each of the last 5 years. And as I said, I started doing this. It was like in my 20s because I just kind of like it. I like to grow and make things live.
Yeah, I like to make my property look pretty. It was pretty bland.
Yeah.
So
anyway, you guys, this was a great show.
Well, this was fun.
I had a lot of fun. We always have fun Saturday night at midnight. Always a great time. So everybody new coming on in, you can see we mix up some, humor and talk some serious stuff. And if you're new, subscribe to Bigfoot Mr. Rob on YouTube, the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast on YouTube, Monica, Our Paranormal World, and of course, Tex from Texas Front Porch. I got to shout out to Dookie, my buddy Duke, when he shows up, World Bigfoot Central. Great guy. You want to talk about Bigfoot, go check out Duke. He's got some cool videos and guests. So today is Saturday. The next show's Sunday. You got Truth or Tinfoil. You got True Crime with Tex and Diva. And I will say this, Chris, we have a cool guest Tuesday. We have the producer from Small Town Monsters joining us. Heather Thomas.
Heather Mosher.
Yeah, there you go. Heather Thomas was on the Fall Guy. The
I
blonde-
remember her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, we have Heather coming on the end of September too, so that'd be cool.
Well, good. So double your pleasure.
Yeah.
And then, of course, rest of the week is too late, so we'll stop at Tuesday because I know you guys don't know what's going on the rest of the week. Or do you?
Not this week. I don't.
Of course, I had this I said. I just threw it out there.
Following after that, actually, I've been like getting back into it. I have shows booked.
I know. Let me tell you guys, my guests, I have slacked on mine too. It's because they're on vacation. Everyone that researches is researching. But I like when we shoot it.
Mhm.
Saturday nights, we always shoot it. Never a guest on Saturday. It's always me and the three girls. Saturday nights at midnight. Thanks for coming on. And it was a great show. Before we go, Ginger Paranormal, Diane Boss, Brandy, Mark, Rich, Diane again, Two Shadows. Thanks for the super chats, becoming members or being members for 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8 months. Awesome. Great show. Now I can go to bed here. Well, I'm always wired after a show. Then I got to go to bed and take care of my little buddy in the morning.
Poor little guy.
Yeah, for those that missed the show, you gotta check out the first 10 minutes. Quite sad story I had to tell earlier.
Yes.
I'm such a showman, aren't I? Okay, whatever, Rob. I gotta find the exit button here. Thank you to everybody for coming in. Krista, Brandy, Monica, have a great rest of your week. For all you out there, see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.